And your DNA, your genes, literally, your DNA, which holds memories of millions of years of evolutionary time. You know, did you know that 60% of your DNA is the same as a banana? That 82% of your DNA is the same as a mouse? That we share 90% of our DNA with plants? That 98% of your DNA is the same as a chimpanzee? That if we took all the DNA of all the 6 billion people on our planet, that all of it would be less in weight than a grain of rice. All the information that codes what they call now the divine code of life is contained in the microcosm. But in any case, this DNA, which holds memories of evolutionary time, which is about 3.5 billion years of evolution, the actual raw material of the DNA, which means the carbon, the hydrogen, the oxygen, the nitrogen, it comes and goes every 6 weeks like migratory birds. And as I said, in 1 year you have replaced 98% of all the atoms in your body. So if you think you are your physical body, you have a bit of a problem. Which one are you talking about? Because I'm here in your beautiful city, and I'm here with my year 2010 model. And the last time I came to Omaha, which was many years ago, and not that long ago, I came for Gallup, and I brought the same suitcase, but not the same body. Because my suitcase has a little longer shelf life. My body is just recycling, and it comes from the dust. It hangs around what I call myself, and then it recycles in other life forms. The body I brought with me to Omaha last time, it's dead, it's gone. It's circulating in other life forms. But since I haven't died in the meanwhile, I hope you'll agree that this is already scientific proof for the existence of life after death. Because we are constantly outliving the death of the molecules through which we express ourselves. My consciousness, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, my memories, my desires, my dreams, my longings, they outlive the death of the molecules through which I express myself. William Shakespeare, in one of his plays, says, "We are such stuff that dreams are made on." Such a beautiful expression. We are such stuff that dreams are made on. And the great Vedic rishis of India, they said, your body is just the place that your memories and dreams call home for the time being. So this seems esoteric, this seems philosophical, but today actually we have a deeper insight. Although people have had these insights, not through science, but through internal experiences, through the rich experience that we have when we live a life that gives attention to what's happening in our invisible domains of consciousness. So the great poet William Blake, in one of his poems, says, "We are led to believe a lie when we see with and not through the eye, that was born in a night, to perish in a night while the soul slept in beams of light." I got a thrill when I read that for the first time. It says, we are led to believe a lie when we see with and not through the eye, that was born in a night, to perish in a night while the soul slept in beams of light. And what Blake is saying is, which should be obvious to anyone who understands the mechanics of perception, is that you cannot trust your senses. That your senses literally give you a false picture of what's out there. My senses tell me the earth is flat. Nobody believes that anymore. My senses tell me that this ground that I'm walking on is stationary, and I know it's spinning at dizzying speeds and hurtling through space at thousands of miles an hour. My senses tell me that your body is an anatomical structure, and now I know that it's not. It's a process. And as we'll see, it's a process in our own consciousness. My senses tell me that there's separation between us in space and time. It seems to be all not true. as we begin to understand the deeper nature of what we call the material world. Because today, through our technology, not necessarily through philosophical exploration, not through metaphysics, but through technology, we're beginning to understand that the essential nature of the material world is that it's not material. That the essential stuff of the universe is non-stuff. That the essential nature of the physical world is that it's not physical. So today, if you can surf the information highway on the internet, if you can use your iPhone or BlackBerry for Twitter, if you can take a picture and send it by SMS to somebody in China, all these technologies are based on a very fundamental premise. And that fundamental premise is that the atom, which is the basic unit of matter, is not material. The atom, which is a basic unit of matter, is a hierarchy of states and information and energy in a huge emptiness. And if you could see the material world as it really is, you'd see a huge emptiness with a few scattered dots and spots and some random electrical discharges. Because 99.999% of everything that we call material is empty space. And the 0.00001% that appears to be material is also empty space. So this physical body that I'm using right now to manufacture this lecture is made out of nothing. When you go beyond the appearance of molecules, you enter a subatomic cloud, you go beyond the cloud, and you end up with nothingness. And the crucial question in science today is, what is this nothingness from where we all come? Is it just a void, or could it be the womb of creation? Is it possible that nature goes to exactly the same place to create a galaxy of stars, or a cluster of nebulas, or a rainforest, or a human body, or a thought? What's a thought? Where does it come from? And after you've had it, where does it go away? These are interesting questions. You know, Rumi, who's a great Sufi poet from the tradition of Islam in the 13th century, said, "We come spinning out of nothingness, scattering stars like dust." He said, look at these worlds spinning out of nothingness. This is within your power. So let's go a little deeper into this, okay? You go beyond the appearance of molecules, you enter a subatomic cloud, you see these subatomic particles, and you realize that these subatomic particles are actually not material things. They are fluctuations of energy and information in a huge emptiness. So if I take your picture right now with this BlackBerry and I send it to a friend in India, what goes from here to there is not a picture, but some little fluctuation of photons that goes through these walls, goes through your body, goes through automobiles, enters cable channels, once in a while bounces off a satellite in space, and somebody captures it somewhere, if you know the right code. So this is, you know, what we are using in our technology. Now, I'm going to simplify this, but if you want to go really into the details of this, check out today's post on WashingtonPost.com, the On Faith section. Just type out my name or Stuart Hammeroff, and you'll see this conversation, which gets a bit technical. But let's, without being too simplistic and yet trying to understand, most scientists who deal with fundamental activities in nature, they'll tell you that nature is a discontinuity. Try and remember this word. Discontinuity is something that goes on and off. Okay? A continuity is something that's constantly on. But what we are being told by scientists is that there's nothing that is a continuity in nature. In nature, everything is going on and off. So just like when you go to see a movie, you see a movie as a continuity, as a motion picture, and you go to the projection room, you realize that motion picture is a series of still frames that are being projected, but if I move the reel fast enough, about 24 frames a second, then I see a motion picture, a continuity, but it's not a continuity. My senses cannot process information at the speed at which it's really happening. So there's an on and there's off, but I can't catch the off. And so even the memory of the previous on lingers in the off, and I see a motion picture, but it's, if you've seen those old movies with Charlie Chaplin and all those, they were jerky because the reel wasn't moving fast enough. Or when you see a Christmas light going around a Christmas tree, there's no light actually moving around the tree. There's only light bulbs going on and off in a certain sequence. So a light bulb goes on, off, and you see a moving light, but there's no moving light, right? So light bulbs, it's a discontinuity. When you see something on your television screen, an image moving from here to there, no image actually travels from here to there. Electrons and photons go on and off in a certain sequence. The moving picture is created in your own consciousness. Now this is a great interesting mystery that, you know, the on-off signals on our senses become the experience of continuity in our consciousness. So right now, there are photons that are bouncing off your retina. They're sending on-off signals called action potentials or electrical impulses that go on-off to your brain. There's a synaptic firing which goes on and off in your neurons, and you see me. How that happens, nobody understands. It's an on-off signal in your neurons that is translated in your consciousness as Deepak on the stage. But that is happening in your consciousness, in your brain, not in your brain. And we'll try and figure out where that consciousness is. But in your brain, there's just electrical impulses going on-off. How does that on-off signal translate into the picture, Deepak on the screen or on the stage? We don't know. A great scientist by the name of Sir Arthur Eddington, talking about matters such as this, he said, the best explanation is something unknown is doing we don't know what. But on-off signals become all of experience, whether they are photons or they are chemicals like taste and smell, sends an on-off signal to your brain, an electrical signal basically. Even touch, if I put my hand on your thigh and if I don't move it, after a while you won't know it's there. But then if I move it again, you might say, what the heck are you trying to do? Okay, so all sensory experience is the translation of on-off signals that translate into on-off signals in the brain. If I ask you to think right now, think of a beautiful sunset on the ocean. Can you see a picture? Right? Think of a beautiful red rose. Can you see a picture? Where's that picture? If I looked inside your brain, do you think I'll see pictures of sunset or roses? Nothing of the sort. Your brain is dark, most of it is water and a little bit of fat. And if you look at the neurons, they're just little electrical signals. So where's that picture? You know, I tell you, think of the face of someone you love, or hear the voice of your loved one, or think of the taste of strawberries. And you have an experience, even in imagination. If I look inside your brain, I'll just see on-off signals, but you're having a subjective experience. Like right now, you're having a subjective experience of me and of this room. And this subjective experience is in your consciousness. It's not in your brain. In the brain, there are electrical impulses. And the deeper mystery is, where is this consciousness and who is having the experience? Now, some of the scientists that we are speaking to these days, they say since nature is a discontinuity, then between every two ons, there's an off. So there's on, off. Right? An on-off signal implies that there's an on, then there's an off, and then there's on. So the mystery is not what's in the on, it's energy and information. The mystery is what's in the off. You know, Robert Frost in one of his poems says, we dance around the ring and suppose the secret sits in the middle and knows. And today, if you talk, and I had a recent conference at our center, we called it Sages and Scientists. Some of the best scientists in the world came from it. And it's going to be online in a few weeks, the whole conference. And so we asked these brilliant scientists, what's in the discontinuity? Not what's in the on, but what's in the off. And this is what they said. So here we go, the mystery of the gap. The first thing they said, in the discontinuity, in the off between the ons, there's no energy, there's no information, there's no space-time, and there are no objects. No energy, no information, no space-time, no object.